So today I wanted to mention my top 3 ways that I deal with extra eggs that start coming in the spring or in the summer that have to do with food and dishes. So number one, I would say would be I don't know if this is an American food. I should probably look that up. But French toast has French. It's kind of like French fries. So French toast is probably one of our number one ways of using up all those extra eggs that start to seem to be like a flush of eggs come, extra daylight hours, and then and your chickens start laying a lot more than they do in the winter. So I would say French toast is definitely our number one. And even better if you can take that French toast and make it out of your own sourdough bread. You get bonus points. But before I go to number 2 and 3, in case you have never had chickens, I want to touch on a little bit of chicken education, for lack of a better phrase. So, chickens are designed, they do not lay an egg every day of their lives. They are meant and created to lay eggs and have those at a time of year where they can have those eggs hatch. And that is usually when the hen will, they call it going broody. And so this is your little chicken 101 from Neva. They'll go broody and they will not want you to collect their eggs, usually starting in the spring because the daylight hours are getting longer. And that is kind of like their natural signal like, hey, start laying more eggs because this is the season. There's a season for everything. So, this is the season for those chickens to be able to lay eggs, have them fertile, have them hatch, and it would be more optimal for that chick to be able to survive. So, your weather is getting nicer. It's not, frigid and freezing. Usually not for when the chick is born if the hen has gone broody. So, going broody is just when your hen is like kind of nesting. Even if they do not have a rooster, your chickens can go broody. It's like a natural instinct. They want those eggs to hatch. And even if there's not a rooster again, they will peck you. They will try, and some can get a little bit ugly when they do not want you to take their eggs because what they really want is those eggs to hatch. And that's their job in this season is to keep that species going. And this is the season that they're kind of made to go with this season for hatching eggs because it has more of a chance that that chick will survive and it's not as much effort and it's not as hard on the hen to be able to help that chick survive. They do a really good job whenever there's inclement weather. And there's almost nothing as cute as a hen having hatched, 10 to 20 eggs. And they have those little chicks running around, and it's so adorable. But that's part of our spring and our summer. That's when our hens go broody. They know their season. And so on the other hand of that is, the season where they're not laying as much is the fall and the winter. They usually slow down if they don't stop at all. And some, if they've started laying, they won't lay as much in the fall and winter. And this is turning into just nothing but a chicken thing. Some folks will put a light in their chicken coop. I guess it's like a false sense of spring or summer. So they'll still get those daylight hours, even though it's not daylight. It's, a light bulb or, a regular light that they're having to kind of trick their body into thinking that it's still laying season. I never really loved that. I like things to kind of have their own natural seasons and And honestly, not only do they could use a break, I'm not a egg farmer, so I'm not in the business of maxing out all the eggs our chickens can have throughout the years, but that's definitely something people will do is put a light in their chicken coop. And they'll put on a timer and they won't leave it on all the time necessarily. Um, I'm not saying I've never tried it. I have tried it and it actually does work. So it's not like I'm just speaking for them. I have tried it. I just don't like it. I appreciate the seasons for them and their eggling capabilities. And I also like the season for me, which is why I want to bring up spring and summer is like egg season from chickens in particular that I'm talking about. And if you keep a few chickens, it is like they will produce so many eggs for you that sometimes you don't know how you're going to deal with them. And oh my gosh, when we were in South Carolina, back in the woods in the sticks, and honestly, we had about 600 chicks and chickens, different ages at one time. And so we didn't have 600 hens laying at one time. We had about 600 pullets, which are the girls, and hens all at one time. So we did not have 600, just to be clear, we did not have 600 laying at one time. And with that said, we didn't have 600 laying, and we were getting about 20 dozen eggs a day. And let me tell you, if you ever want someone to not want anything anymore, make there be too much of it. Uh, so with 20 dozen eggs, I'm kidding you not, like it could have been up to 25, but around 20 dozen eggs a day, we're egged out. No one wants eggs anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, how many more omelets can we have? How many more fried eggs? How many more scrambled eggs? And you get really creative with, working and dealing with too many. I say too many eggs. That's definitely too many eggs, even though in today's society we had a huge family, which we had 9, and all of us were doing our best to contribute to make sure those eggs didn't go to waste. But besides selling them, which we did do, we took those eggs and went out and we had our little, what we call our egg stop. And that's all we did. We just set up a little table and had our eggs for sale in a little corner in town. And here and there, we didn't do it all the time. And we weren't even very predictable with it. But let's get back to the favorite ways and my top 3 ways of dealing with all that extra eggs that you end up having in the spring and summer. And I can also tell you a couple of things that I've done and have not worked for me. So again, let me go back. Number 1, French toast. Just take those eggs, and it seems like, at least the way I cook French toast, maybe I sop it in the egg batter a little bit longer than normal. I don't know, but it still makes good French toast, so we're going with it. But French toast is awesome. You don't have to have all of the, you know, commercial syrup if you don't want it or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, maple syrup in our house is like awesome, but you can even use one of our favorites to put on that, if anything at all, because I use, the cinnamon and stuff in the egg batter. Pear butter seems to be like our go to for a lot of stuff. It's not even a jelly and it's not like a sauce, so it's in between. Anyway, digress on the French toast. French toast is awesome. And if you can get, again, that sourdough made, and actually that might be even better if you have like bread going out. Use it for that. That's perfect. Sourdough, it gets you bonus points. So let me know if you if you make some, or any bread, if you make your own bread. But sourdough is probably what a lot of people end up wanting to make, is sourdough. But number 1, French toast. Number 2, I would assume most people do this, but I guess some people might not like it, and that would be egg salad. That is one of my favorite ways of dealing with all the, extra and overabundance of eggs. And I guess you need to learn how to boil a good egg. So that might be a good way, as a side note, to perfect your egg boiling skills and take all those eggs and have a big experiment if you want. But egg salad, whether it be on a sandwich or crackers or a snack or the actual meal, I'm all about simple meals. So simple anything, really. Um, I don't like things complicated. So, however you want your egg salad, however you like to eat it, and if you do like to eat it, this is just one of my top ways. I know our kids love the French toast. Sometimes I'll poll them, like, okay, what is everybody's favorite way of how we've dealt with, eggs? And French toast is definitely on there. Egg salad isn't one that they brought up, but I definitely have it, and that was my vote. So, egg salad, it's simple, doesn't use very many ingredients. Just keep it in the fridge. Again, you can use it as, a quick lunch, whether it be sandwich, crackers, that sort of thing. And number 3, it's not time sensitive, but what it is, I consider time sensitive as far as consuming it. So I would wait for this one. And this one is called Nun's Puffs. And I got that recipe out of, I have the recipe book. It's older. I love all the classic recipes. I like to try old recipes out or ones that have like some history to it. And Nun's Puffs were just kind of old fashioned, maybe, which is right up my alley. But Nun's Puffs use a lot of eggs. So it's not a muffin and it's not necessarily a quick bread, but you would put it in a muffin pan. So if you can look up the recipe, I don't know if I can find it or share it with you, but I'm telling you what it's called. You're more than welcome to try it. Maybe I'll try it on my own and throw a little video together, and then you can look on YouTube for it. But Nun's Puffs is kind of like a muffin, but it's more egg. So you start on the stove, and you have to get the timing down because when you add your eggs, you don't want to cook your eggs. You want it to be a part of the blend. So you don't want to make scrambled eggs because you're putting it in something that's on the stove. And so there's like a little timingness on that. But once you understand that you want to add it in one at a time, you don't want to just throw all of the eggs in. You want to add it in and you're stirring. And to me, it's like the moment is we're having Nun's Puffs, and therefore let me deal with cooking the Nun's Puffs and then you be ready to eat them, because when you're done on the stove and you put them in the muffin tin or the pan, they go in that, and then it goes in the oven and it gets baked, and you can put a little sugar or something on top. Some folks will drizzle honey or something on the top afterwards, but it gives like a little sweet crust, and it rises in the oven. And when you get them out, that's the best time. I mean, to me, forget it. If they're cooled, I haven't found a way to resurrect the Nun's Puffs. But I will say, if you want to try it, I would definitely set some time aside and let it be Nun's Puff time. And then you cook the batter basically on the stove. You put them in the muffin pan. You bake them for the time, and then you pull them out, and oh my gosh, just eat them. Just eat them right there. You could put honey on it if you want anything at all. You could put honey on it. You could put syrup on it. You could put maybe some sort of jelly if you want. But in general, they are just so good. But they use a lot of eggs, and it's more egg heavy than it is like flour heavy, if that makes sense. So honestly, that's probably the number one favorite way. Everybody likes it. But again, I would definitely set some time aside. I do set time aside. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. Be ready to eat them. Because if you're not, I might just eat the whole pan. So that is probably our top 3 ways to deal with the abundance of eggs that come in the spring and the summer. And those chickens, they will keep going, laying those eggs for you. And you can just continue on doing other experiments, but I mean, these are like the classic ones at our house: French toast, egg salad, and Nun's puffs. And just as a bonus for you, this one's totally different. This is not eating the eggs, but if you have a rooster, incubate them. Like, just make that be like a little small project for the family or someone that's, younger, and just incubate them. If you've never done it, try it. It is so cool. It is like a 28-day experiment if you've never done it. And all of a sudden on day 28, they all start hatching. Not all of them necessarily, because some don't work, but it is so cool just to have an abundance of eggs, and if they're fertile, incubate them, or if there's a possibility that they could be fertile. So I know we keep roosters with our hens, no problem. I mean, they have their place too. Those roosters are there to help protect that hen, and protecting that hen helps protect, their babies along with the hen. So, that's also their job. But if you don't have your own chickens and you buy eggs, just say you buy eggs from another farm or a homestead, ask them. I mean, they're going to love to talk to you about what they're offering you is those eggs. And a lot of homesteads and farms, they just keep the rooster with them because, it's just part of having homestead eggs a lot of times. Not always. If it's strictly an egg operation, then, a lot of times folks won't keep a rooster. But sometimes, the smaller folks, they just like to sell their eggs on the side and enjoy their chickens. They might keep a rooster. And if they do, then just try it. Incubate. Incubate those eggs and see what happens. It's just 28 days for an incubation time before they hatch, which hopefully they do, at least some of them. And it's not like you can't, again, this is chicken education, in case you have not had experience in incubating eggs at all. But you can, by day, like maybe a weekend, not weekend, a week in, 1 to 2 weeks in, you can candle them, which is basically just, having the room dark, and then you have a flashlight, or they do sell specific lights you can use, but just use a flashlight if needed. And some incubators will actually have the little candling light on it, and as long as you're in a dark room, you set the egg on the light and you can see all the movement and the growth that's going on within that egg if it's fertile and it's growing, which is so cool because, that could be a way that you can get a hold of some chickens and start raising your own eggs. Now, there's no guarantee they're girls, but they could be, little roosters in there. But that is my little bonus, is make an attempt to incubate some eggs. Maybe you're getting a deal on eggs and people are, they have too many. Maybe they have 600. Maybe they have 600 chickens and 20 dozen eggs a day, and they're like, look, somebody's got to take these eggs. But that's my little extra bonus in case you have that little creative experiment, kind of bubbling inside you. You can totally do that. Incubators can be found in, nowadays, most places are kind of carrying the simple incubators. I could another day kind of show you what we use. We don't use anything too fancy right now. But yeah, those are my top 3 ways our family likes to deal with all the extra eggs in the spring and summer. And number 1 is French toast, 2 is egg salad, and 3 is Nun's puffs. And if you're really wanting bonus points, you can try to incubate them on your own. So I will see you next time.